All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to No Judgment Here, the podcast. I am your host, Tish Ross. Man, we had technical difficulties and I had to have my guest figure out what in the world was going on. But welcome in. Welcome in. Um, you guys are in for a treat. Thanks for coming in at the special time. Also, just take note that next Monday, my guests are David and Sammy from Goat Days, and they'll also be coming in at 6:30 because they'll both be joining me to share their testimony. But tonight we have two really special guests, and I'm telling you guys, I probably harassed Devon into coming onto the show because I would like comment on his videos and say, hey, I'd really like for you to come in on my show. And um anyway, he's so sweet. He's such a positive man. But I have to give kudos to Brian at the Vineyard Farmhouse for helping me trap him into coming on. So we're blessed to have both Devon and Ryan from Our New Land come on. That is their channel. It's Our New Land. So my mods can drop their link. You guys are going to want to go and check out their channel if you haven't watched it. But I came to know them from Brian at the Vineyard Farmhouse having Devon come on, and I caught wind of their story. And it's I've had a couple of guests on and parents come on, and they would share their stories of adoption. And while like I always say, I'm not a child that has been adopted, and I don't have parents that adopted other children, but I have been just so blessed to um, be sort of privy to other people's stories of adoption and the perspectives that people have, whether it's the child that was adopted, whether it was the adoptive parents that have joined and shared their stories. I've yet, though, to have a biological parent come on and share their story. So I'd like to do that sometime, possibly, maybe after chatting with Ryan and Devon. I mean, I don't know how their dad might feel about coming on and sharing, but you never know. So they're going to come on and share their story. And I think what really just, I guess, was very captivating to me was how seamless this family blended once they reunited. And I'm going to bring my guest in and let them share their stories. I don't want to put words in their mouths. I don't want to share their story for them. Obviously, it's much better when it comes from them. So before I bring them in, I'm going to scroll back up to the top, and then I'm going to bring both Devon and Ryan in, and then welcome some of my guests. Okay. All right. So thanks for being here, guys. I'm going to bring them in. There's Devon and
Hello.
Ryan.
Hey
I'm
there.
serious, y'all. I've been so excited to have you guys on, and I have to tell you that um I watched, last week I watched a lot of your videos, and then like I said, I think one of my favorite was your very first live. When I see you two together, it just makes me laugh. I mean, it's such, you can tell, I mean, that you guys are brothers. And unfortunately, and I'm not even going to try to do anything, you guys will have to go to their YouTube channel to see these amazing pictures that Devin was so kind to send to me. But I was having some technical difficulties before we hopped on, and I'm not about to start pressing buttons and have something else happen. But um a lot of the pictures that you sent, I was able to see how they were captured in some of the video. And the ones with you guys doing the cheers to the first day sitting on your land, it was amazing. But I want to start back from the beginning, especially for those people that are brand new to your story. I'm going to first welcome some guests that are in. And because this is a podcast, a lot of people that listen to it are doing just that. They're just listening. And so they don't see. So if you're listening, I am going to welcome some guests in, some YouTube channels in, and then we're going to go right to my guest so that they can share their story. So first I want to welcome in Miriam Bimler. Thanks for being here. There's Brian, the Vineyard Farmhouse, the guy that worked his magic and got me hooked up with these guys. Rebecca Touched by Yarn, she is here. Kevin Hiking with Jackie Boy, he is here. Melinda Dobson, thanks for being in. There's Christine, Mrs. Gillum Farms, thanks for being here. I'm so glad that you guys are joining me. And if you get a chance, you have a platform where you can share this show out or this podcast episode out. I would so appreciate it, because there are a lot of people that will listen to it later and maybe aren't able to tune in tonight. Also, we all have different followers on our pages and platforms. And so I just feel like it's always good to share it out, because I feel like someone somewhere needs to hear this message of hope. Kickapoo Crafty Cat LaDonna is here. Thanks for being here. And Big Dreams Tiny Budget is here. Justin Backroad Freedom is here as well. There's Piggy Piddles. Stephen Sheets is here. Wow, there's a lot of folks in here. Full Blown Country is here. Aline, welcome to my kitchen. Leanne Gunther. Thank you all for coming in. I'm so grateful. Lori Karp is in the house. And I'm going to just include a couple more, and then we're going to move on in. And again, I'm so grateful for everybody that's here and supporting the story, these amazing guys, their channel, as well as mine. I'm grateful. There's Andell Homestead. She is in the house. All right. Beverly Moffett, she is here as well. And there's Anna. All right. I'm going to move into our guests, Devon and Ryan. Again, their channel. You guys want to go check it out. It's Our New Land. And it's not just a channel about their adoption. It's also a channel of their land. I noticed some different things that you guys had opened or tried out. Like the tents are amazing. Like everything I was watching, I was like, hey, that's a cool, that's a cool gig, or that's a cool gadget, And so just your whole story from start to finish is amazing. So Devon, I welcome both of you guys in, Devon and Ryan. I appreciate you guys being here, and thank your families for letting me steal you guys for just a little bit. But Devon, I'm going to let you start and sort of tell your story, how all of this came about.
Yeah, so now we're going way back. So I was put up for adoption at birth in the first week of my life, adopted by a great family, and was raised by just a loving family. I was very fortunate. Was also raised with a sister who was also adopted. And as I got older, I started having questions about where did I come from. My adoptive parents were always very upfront that I was adopted, and they've always told me that your mother loved you so much that she wanted to give you possibilities that you may not have had with her and her situation. So it never felt I never felt weird or different that I was adopted. It was just one of those things. But I started to have questions as I got older. Do I look like my parents? I don't know why that was such a pressing issue for me. It was never why was I put up. It was just, do I look like them, or do I act like them? And then as I continued to get older and started filling in, seeing, just doctors for your normal annual checkups, it's, do you have family history of this and that? And I'm like, why? It was always unknown because I didn't know that. So then that started to kind of, creep into the equation. And then when I was almost 30, I was in my late 20s, I actually signed up for an adoption registry where I added my name to the list. And if one of my birth parents had also added their name, there would be a match. And there was a match. And I remember calling up, hey, did you get my paperwork? This is 20 years ago, so it was before the internet was big. It was all through the mail. And I remember calling up and Bonnie answering from the adoption agency saying, yes, and there's a match. And it's your father looking for me. And that had never really entered into my mind that it was my father. I figured this sounds really strange. For some reason, I always felt like I would meet my mother. And I don't know why. It's an irrational thought, but I always thought that. So it's your father looking for you. And she had so much energy. She was, and your parents married each other, after you were born, and you've got a full-blooded brother and sister. And I remember I was at a new job in a new state, and I remember I don't know why I remember looking around like, who can I tell about this? And there was no one I could tell. And that's really where this journey with Ryan began. And that was I was almost 20 and he was 15, 16, right on the cusp there. So it was a wild time for both of us.
And so, one thing that in watching several of your videos, but one of your videos, you had said that, and I'm looking down at my notes if you guys are wondering what I'm looking at. You had mentioned that you had joined or put your paperwork in for the adoption registry when you were 18, and that you had requested paperwork when you were 18, but you sat on that paperwork for 10 years while your adoptive dad was still alive. And to me, I have to tell you that is quite, gosh, I don't even know what the word. First of all, very admirable when you guys find out why. You have such great respect and love for your adoptive parents, just such honor and such patience, because I know, and I try to put myself in both yours and Ryan's spot every time you guys are sharing stories. I love when you guys are together and you're sharing your stories. I love when you're apart and sharing your stories, because it's so amazing. The brotherhood is just so apparent, and the love that you guys have for each other is just so felt. When you guys are alone or sharing a video on your own, you always mention the other, and it is just what can I do? What you got? Here you go. I just admire so much how you guys spend so much time together, and how the land all came about and everything. Sorry guys, hold on one second. But to me, I'm thinking, and again, I've not been adopted, but to me, if and I guess it's because knowing my brothers and sisters now, or forever since we were born, but to sit and wait to try to find siblings for 10 years. You know what? I don't know that I could do that, Devon. I don't know that I could do that. But explain why you waited 10 years.
Yeah, so I don't know what the law is now, but back then it was age 18, I could add my name to the registry. So I requested the paperwork when I turned 18. And then I sat on it for 10 years. And it was because of my dad, my adopted dad. I felt, and I still believe this, that he would have taken it personally, if and when I told him that I was looking or I had found my birth family. And my biggest question was, do I look like my parents? So I didn't have these crushing, I have to find this out now. So I sat on it, and then he passed away when I was 28, and things just came together, and that's when I sent it in. And I've been asked, do I wish I would have sent it in earlier? And no. I mean, I would have liked to have known, Ryan and our sister and parents longer, but I'm happy with where we are now, and I'm happy that I didn't potentially add that pain, to things that dad was going through.
Man, you're such a good man. Seriously, I mean, it's very selfless to do that. And I mean, I don't know a better word, but to love your parent, to honor your parents, and to respect your parent the way that you do, is just it's such a beautiful thing to see, Devon. And so, Ryan, let me ask both of you this question no, let me ask you this, Ryan. Did you know? So growing up, did you know anything about having a sibling, or was it when? Tell everyone how you found out and when you found out that you had a sibling.
Sure. No, I had absolutely no idea. So I have an older sister, so she's a middle child. Um, and I mean, absolutely no idea. So our parents got divorced when I was like 8 or 9. And my sister, my mother, and I moved about 6 hours away from our dad. And, we're just going on about life. And I was a sophomore in high school. So I was like 15 or 16 and very immature kid, for sure. And basically, mom was like, "Hey, I need to tell you something. Stay home." Like, mom worked, I'd get out of school and I would just be gone, like most kids, until like the sun went down. And I remember a couple of days going by of us not having this conversation she wanted to have. So whatever. I don't remember what day of the week it was, but it was a very serious, we need to sit down situation. And so we're like in the living room, sitting at the dinner table, which is kind of in the living room. And I was thinking about this the other day. I was trying to remember what all was going on in life at that time to remember what I think it was, like what did I get away with that maybe she caught me in, you know what I mean? Like, because the furthest, I would never have imagined this was about to be told to me. So mom is like, all right, I got to tell you something. Now, meanwhile, my mom had been dating a guy for several years. So she basically is like, hey, the way I remember it, I have to tell you something. You have a brother. And I don't remember all of it, but I 100% remember thinking that she got pregnant and had a baby like within the last couple of years. And I was like, how was I this distracted? You know? And she's like, no, your dad and I had him, and explain the whole situation. And yeah, I was really excited. I've never said this before on camera, and I'll say it right now, and I hope it's okay. Okay. So mom grew up in a very small, very uniquely religious town. I'll just leave it at that. And that town is where she basically put the kid up for adoption. Okay. So when my parents split up, we moved back there. So my grandparents lived there. Well, basically, they were like, hey, you have a brother. I'm like, this is amazing. I can't wait to tell everybody. And they were like, well, don't tell any of your friends. Because my friend's parents grew up with my mom. And she had kept this all a secret. And so that was kind of crazy. So I didn't tell like even some of my best friends for like a number of years. And then I'm like, how do I just ease this in there? I'm like, yeah, me and my brother were hanging out. And they're like, what? You have a brother? So that's something we really haven't dove into. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I found out about Devon. I was the last one apparently in the family to find out. And then that night they were like, do you want to talk to him on the phone? It was just like 1-2 punch. So
Wow. Okay. So now, I'm thinking as you're speaking, that is a long time. I think this is where Devon gets his, I don't know, his ability to maintain, just not pursuing meeting his family for 10 years. I mean, they kept a secret from you for a long time, Ryan. I mean, was there not ever any inkling? Well, you said you had no idea. So no slip ups, no, that sounded weird, or no, nothing.
I mean, nothing. I remember telling my mom on several occasions, I wish I had a brother. And then thinking back on that, I bet that was like just getting punched in the stomach,
Yeah.
you know?
Have you
Ugh.
guys ever talked to her about any of the conversations that you guys have, such as things like that? Like, how did you really feel, Mom? Was it hard for you to in a loving way, obviously. But was it hard for you to keep that secret, or?
So I'll go if that's okay. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, and we've talked about things, but in really the last couple of months, like last 2 months, Devin and I both have had like one-on-one conversations with her and asked questions that we've never asked.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's because of our channel, and really it's the videos that Devin puts out because his side of the story is just unbelievable. I mean, his whole story is amazing. And we've had so many questions come in from people that were like, we should ask that. And what's really interesting too is it's very therapeutic for the two of us, especially Devin. I probably wear my heart on my sleeve a little more than he does, but our mom goes and watches it and reads every comment. And I
Okay.
think it's been really good for her too, because she's still, she doesn't want to upset Devin, even though we all kind of have the same feelings about things. Like none of us would ever get upset, but we want to make sure that we're protecting each other from potential questions and feeling bad. So
Yeah, I've noticed that about you guys. Just the two of you, and I can imagine. Obviously, that comes from such great upbringings from your parents, in that the love, respect, honor, the protection that you guys have for one another. I've noticed in your videos, there was at one time, I think, Ryan, you were sharing. It was your cousin Eric, and you guys were having a conversation. I think you were talking about going hunting with your dad, and I'm assuming that conversation had happened in front of Devin, because then Eric asked, "Do you think that makes Devin feel left out when you say things like that?" And so then you, in one of the videos, you asked Devin, "Hey, so Eric," and plus, by the way, I was looking for Eric's channel, but I couldn't find it. But I'm wondering that, I mean, the whole family seems just very, like I said, loving, respectful, protective. But sometimes those are some of the questions that, you have to ask, because you want to know. It's such a, I don't know, it's not challenging, but it is such a, you just have so much love for each other that you don't want to say anything that's going to hurt the other. But then you also want to say, "Hey, is it okay if or how do you feel if I talk about when me and dad were together and hunting? Does that hurt your feelings?" And I certainly don't mean to make you feel bad. And I saw that Devin's response was no. It doesn't make him feel left out at all. And so I wonder about some of those hard conversations that you guys have. And the cool thing is that you guys, in one of your other videos, had said that you guys are still peeling the layers. You're still having those conversations, and I love that. I love that. Um, Even now, and probably until forever, you'll be having such great brotherly conversations. And so tell me about your biological sister. I know that she is a private person. She's not a YouTube gal, but Devin, tell me how you first met your sister.
Oh, I remember it specifically so the way I met everybody, I'm sorry, I got to back up just a bit, was
Sure.
I was living up in New York. I flew down to meet our birth father first. So he was the first one I met, and then his parents and his sister, uh, and that crew, and spent several days there. And it was, I mean, just awesome. And then took his car and drove uh, to meet Ryan and our sister and that side of the family. And when I pulled up, our sister was walking across the front yard carrying some food in, and so she was the first one of that group that I saw. And I remember getting out, and I brought a big box of photos of me growing up and stuff, and she's got food, and we're trying to hug each other and not make it any more weird than it was already. you know um but it's awesome, and she's you know I mean, she's just as awesome as Ryan. And I
Mm.
mean, you know while he was talking, Sorry.
It's okay.
I mean, my best friends are Ryan and our sister, her husband, his wife. I mean, they're, I don't know, when I think of who do I want to hang out with, it's them. And who do I have most fun with and who do I laugh with the most? It's just awesome. It's really been a storybook.
Yeah, most definitely. And, I noticed in some of the pictures that you sent, the majority of the pictures that you sent, Devin, you must be a funny fellow because in every picture, Ryan, not every picture, but the majority of the pictures when people are laughing, Ryan, his mouth is like wide open, his head cocked back wide open, just dying laughing. And I can only wonder, the conversations that you guys have, but you guys are always laughing. You're
We are.
always happy together. Have you guys had any arguments?
No?
No.
I think so.
I'm sure I've ticked them off a few times, but hopefully it's been temporary. No, we laugh constantly, and sister and spouses. I mean, it's just constant laughing, and we're so comfortable with each other that
Mhm.
if someone that knew our story but didn't know us, if they would hear some of this some of the stuff we'd say, they'd kind of be shocked. But I mean, we have fun with it and just roll with it. It's just I don't know. It almost feels I don't know. I didn't growing up I didn't have that kind of didn't know it was going to go there that kind of camaraderie. So for
Mm,
me, it was I think about jobs or school, and those friends I had, and this is almost like it's that, but better, where we're
man.
able to laugh and, poke fun at each other. And I don't know, it's just, we're just like a group of friends. I don't know how else to say it.
I love it. I mean, I'm serious. And if you guys haven't gone to their channel, you really need to go and watch because the connection, I have to tell you, both of you guys that watching, I mean, it didn't even have to be crying in the field of buckwheat. It was just watching the videos, watching your videos, watching your first live, just watching you and knowing, not even all the details of your story, but the story that you guys have both shared in terms of finding out about one another and reconnecting and reuniting. I watch it sometimes and just you, like I said, you can feel the love, you can see the laughter. And then I'm crying, like watching, thinking, my gosh, I can only imagine how both of you guys feel in the presence of one another. Just being able to be with your brother. And so you guys, I'm kind of all over the place as well. I have ADHD as well, but it's all good. All of these questions are great. So, but you guys decided. So your YouTube channel is called Our New Land, and I also noticed that in one video, at first, you guys were thinking about buying your own land, separate land. And then how did you guys decide to, you know what, let's go ahead and buy our land together? How did that come together? And um, when did I know that you guys looked at several different properties, but when did you guys both know when you found the one that this is the one? So what made you guys decide to join together to purchase the land? Ryan?
Sure. Yeah. So when we say, or when you said we were thinking about buying it, it was kind of just like a dream. Like it'd be amazing to have some property, to just have recreational use, take the kids out to and hunt and fish and all that. And we were both kind of, just casually searching on our own. And I wish I could remember the exact timeline. Devin's the one that brought it up because I feel this is in my head, this is how it went. We were talking, and I was like, yeah, I want to buy this property. And Devin's like, yeah, I've been kind of looking too. And then like the next time we spoke, Devin said, why don't we buy land together? And I was like, yes. Like I didn't even think about it because I was like, if we teamed up, we could get something more sizable. And we live in Texas. We've been looking in Texas, and Devin threw it out there. He's like, man, Southern Oklahoma is close and their prices are right. And so it was kind of Devin that pushed us to do it. Is that how you remember it, Devin?
Yeah, for sure. And we reached out to our sister, and she didn't have as much interest in it as we did. She had other stuff going on, but yeah, we put it out there.
And so you guys looked at several different pieces of land. And did you guys both know when you found the one?
Yeah. It was so funny. I vividly remember it.
Yeah, me too.
Like we were both little giddy. It's like we were like in line for the, for the roller coaster or something. I remember we were just like, is this it? I feel good about this.
Yeah,
I
it's funny.
love it.
We were out there with the broker driving around, and then we're like, all right, well, give us a few minutes. We kind of walked off alone, just he and I. And it's funny. I mean, the area that we were looking in. I mean, yeah, Ryan, I specifically remember right there. It's like, this is so cool. Let's buy this. And now it's like such a little insignificant thing that we don't even ever go to. But yeah, it was kind of immediate. Like, this is the one.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it, and I love the video of again. I have the pictures, but I dare not touch anything. But there's a picture of the two of you sitting on your land. You had just purchased it. You guys are both in little camping chairs, and you're cheersing. And um, you guys had said that I think it was Ryan that said, I really don't know why we're recording this, like us sitting on our land. We've only owned it for, a short amount of time. I don't know if it was 30 minutes or 3 hours, but y'all were
Yeah.
sitting and then you guys both discussed that if no one else sees these videos, that the reason why you guys are making these videos is for your children and their children, their families. And it's such an amazing journey to watch. And then I watch you guys put up your bell tents. And Ryan, I saw a video of you and your in your bell tent, and your son was there, and he was climbing up a ladder, and I could hear him singing when you guys were riding on I guess it's the ATV. And then Devon, I saw you in your bell tent cooking fajitas for your two children, and they're playing cards. I mean, my gosh, the memories that you guys are making are just beautiful. And so I kind of want to go back a little bit for people that don't know. You also have a video that in segments shares, Devon, how you told your family. And of course, your dad passed away, and then you went ahead and moved forward, and you and your dad, your biological dad, were looking for each other. Your adopted mom, you had mentioned that she was a very positive person and genuinely happy for you, that you had called her, and that was kind of the phone call that you were most nervous about, but that she was a positive person, that she was very happy for you. Your paternal grandmother, Myrrh, it seems like that when you share stories, whether it's just in front of the camera or with Ryan, that when you talk about both sets of grandparents or all sets of grandparents, that's where you seem to get a little bit more sentimental or a little bit more emotional. What is it about sharing about your grandparents that caused that?
Oh, you're right. It's funny on some of the adoption videos, I bring up the grandparents and I immediately, you see it cut. I have to edit it out because it immediately gets to me. And really, only in the last week or two did it. Maybe this is it. Was that Myrrh, right? That grandmother. She
Mhm.
was the one that I had the tightest relationship with on my adoptive side, and I guess that must be it. I must be somehow projecting that on the grandparents on the biological side. Um, that's all I can think of, but it does get to me. And it's funny that the day that I met um, our father, uh, and he picked me up from the airport. We had to drive like an hour or so away, and then getting there with his parents. At the end of that hoopla event where I'm meeting everybody, I walk them out to their car, and my my birth paternal grandmother, she kind of took my arm and she said, "Your grandfather the one thing he has talked about for years and years, for decades, was that he hoped that he would find you um, before he
Mm.
passed. That's one hope that he had. And Ryan and I are still learning about even that. We're learning stuff all the time, and it's because of these videos, because of this channel. You
Mm.
know, that now our birth parents watch it and they have questions, and that brings up like what we didn't, I didn't know that that was still out there that we didn't know about. So we're still learning
Mm.
about. I don't know.
I love that. I love that. And so, Ryan, did you have what, before I ask this question, one thing that even watching your videos, it's so amazing that when you guys share, and you share so genuinely, so deeply, and so honestly, that you never know what someone's going to take away from a video. And so, and I take away a lot of different things, not even just about you guys, but also within myself. I mean, all of my grandparents have passed away, and I'm a little bit of an emotional person as well. And I thought, man, as a teenager, I sure missed out on the opportunities to really get to know my grandparents when they were living, to really just sit down and have conversations to find out about my parents. How were they when they were little? And just to get to know them, just to get to know them. And so, Ryan, did you take advantage of chatting with your grandparents?
I mean, like everyone, not like I should have. I
Mm.
spent most of my summers with dad's parents because they had a farm. And so, especially after the divorce, I'd spend summers with dad, but he would drop me off at the grandparents' farm because he was working. Um, so me and my grandfather, his dad, we were like super tight. Like, yeah, like and everybody that knew that man thought the world of him.
Mm.
Um, and like everything, he passed when I remember I was in college. I was valeting cars, and I was valeting at a Willie Nelson concert. I remember that. And I got a phone call and I answered, and dad was telling me that he had passed away. And like, I remember sitting there in that car just thinking like, man, like I wish I hope he knows like how much I thought of him, and just like everybody does, and
Mhm.
for me, for us, it was, we had one grandparent pass away, then the other, then the other, then the other. And you're always like with each one, it's like, I need to spend more time with who's left. I need to spend more
Right.
time with who's left. And it's one of those situations. But he and I had a really, really excellent relationship. When the parents split up, we actually moved in with my mom's parents. We lived with them for like 3 months while mom was looking for a job. And then we moved next door and lived there forever. But even so, man, that grandfather, he was in World War II, in Korea. He owned his own business. Like, he was such an interesting, awesome guy. And I
Mm.
did not take advantage of it.
Mm.
And I don't know.
It's like
So
you said though, Ryan, I mean, it's, every normal person, kid, teenager, college kid, adult, that when someone passes, then I'll speak for myself, that unfortunately I say the same thing. Oh my gosh, I need to spend more time, especially, and again, this is, I'm almost embarrassed to say it, but especially at the funeral, you see family members that you only see at funerals, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my mom's family is dwindling down. Like, now I only have this uncle or this aunt. I really need to spend more time with them, and I'm ashamed to say that I might reach out once or twice after we've seen each other, and then time goes by and then someone else passes and the same thing. I think, okay, I've got to get on this. I really need to. But I think that that is such a normal thing. I mean, everyone is, I'll speak for myself. I was, living my life with my children and in my marriage. Um, and I don't know if this is a reason or an excuse, but when you have children who are small and then they're growing up and they're so involved in all the things that I don't think that I look or even think, I don't even think about making time to go and visit other people. But Devon, you said that your relationship with Myrrh and your maternal grandmother, that you were really super close with them, that they were like night and day, but that they were besties, and that you spent a lot of time with them as well in the summer. What was your, now we know Myrrh, but what was your maternal grandmother's name?
So, well, we called her Nani.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, they lived close to each other. They lived in the same city. I could ride my bike between their two houses. So I spent all my summer and winter vacations with them. Um, yeah, we were tight.
And you said that, so Nani and her husband, that they were creatures of habit, that they didn't really like change. And so chatting with them, I believe Murr had said that maybe your mom should talk to them. Am I getting that story right?
Yeah, and also she was physically close with them. So they were in a nursing, well, not a nursing home, but they were in a I don't know, a
Assisted
retirement home.
living? Okay,
There
gotcha.
you go, assisted living. And she lived close by to them. So there was multiple reasons. But yeah, they were um, very, very loving people, but they were also just old school. They didn't like change. I remember on Sundays, if someone was visiting the church and happened, they had their specific pew, and they were 2 seats in, that was theirs. And if someone was visiting and sat in theirs, I remember he was just like, "All right, now I've got to pick where I'm going to sit, and that's going to kick somebody out, and then they're got to sit and kick somebody out." They just didn't like change. Um,
Gotcha.
but they were loving, and when our birth father and then our birth mother, they went up and spent days. Our birth father spent several days up in Amarillo. That's where my grandparents were, and met and hung out with everybody.
Mhm.
And then our birth mother also came through and met all the grandparents, and that's when she met mom as well, and a cousin. Mimi was there, right? Um, so they were obviously accepting and just wonderful people.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you mentioned that you also had an adopted sister, your sister that you lived with, she was also adopted, and you guys shared the same date of birth.
Yeah.
And did she tried to reach out and find her family, and that was not successful. Do
Yeah.
you
So
guys still have a relationship, or
no, so she's 4 years to the day younger than me. And she did, with mom's help, um, find her birth mother. And her birth mother just wanted nothing to do with her and wouldn't share information about siblings or half siblings or whatever. So that 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 hurt her for sure. Uh, and so when I found my birth family, and then
so did she find hers first?
she found hers first.
So how
Um,
did that make you feel, finding or knowing that her birth mother didn't want to have anything to do with her? Did that cast any doubt or anything in your mind? Were you worried or concerned about how your brother Ryan, or well, you didn't know about Ryan, but how maybe your parents might or might not welcome you home?
No, and keep on, the way that I found them was on the registry where both sides have to be searching. And I don't know, because my sister was adopted from the same agency that I was. So I don't know how they tracked. I have no
Gotcha.
idea how that connection was made. Um, but no, it never put a pause in my thinking.
Hmm.
For some reason, I just thought that I'd meet my birth mother. It's so irrational, but that's just what I thought. Um, but no, I never told my sister. I never talked with her about her finding. She found her. Well, the connection was made after my sister had run away. She ran away when she was 14 when she ran away, and she's been on the streets since then. She's almost 50 now. So she never discussed with me her finding, and I never discussed what I've experienced with her.
Hmm. Let me ask you this too. Do you guys see any, like in terms of mannerisms, do you guys see each other's, or maybe Ryan, do you see some of your dad or mom's mannerisms in Devon, or in each other? Because there was one video that I heard you guys say that you all smell stuff before you, no matter what's handed to you, you take a little sniff.
And we got quite a few other people commenting that they do the same thing, and it really made me feel good about it.
Yeah, that's right. What if there's a term for that malady? You know what I mean?
Yeah. But that was something that Devon's wife had pointed out when we were all together one time. I don't remember exactly how it happened, but I think someone handed me something and I was like, I smell it. It's like one of the things that I do. And she's like, your dad and Devon both do that same thing. That's so interesting. In terms of other mannerisms, I'd have to think about the mannerisms, but our humor level and just really, for lack of a better word, like nerdiness, I will say, Dan and I very regularly will say this. We'll say, this is really weird, but I think that you'll laugh, because I probably wouldn't tell what I'm about to tell him to other people for fear of judgment, but I know he'll probably like it too, even if it's the most obscure thing. You know what I mean?
Yes. And I heard that you guys have like the same, some of the same books and interest in music. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. I think Devon remembers that a little bit better than me, but I guess on our first phone call, after I asked him if he had facial hair, we talked about some of the books that we had both read growing up. Man, how amazing would that have been if we could have recorded that conversation?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
A phone call.
Yeah.
Now, what do your spouses think about your whole situation, your union, and what do they think about that?
His wife thinks that he's so lucky to have me in his life. So it's
Is that right?
been great.
But Devon is a voice of reason for both of us, though. 100%. Really?
Right.
Yes. She'll tell, no, she respects what Devon says way more than what I say.
No.
And 100% trusts. Devon says it, she believes it, she trusts it. But it's also because Devon is so meticulous. He doesn't just throw stuff out there. He makes sure he understands something to a T before he speaks on it, which is, kind of the opposite of me.
And how about you? How about you, Devon? How about your wife?
Yeah, you asked her who her best friends are, and she's, this group is going to be right in the mix there. We all just have just a blast together. It's just, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't have that growing up with anybody. I guess Murr was my best friend. But it's funny that the three of us and our spouses, man, we get together and it just starts laughing. We're just laughing. It's just awesome.
How many children do you guys have each? And do the children know the story? And are they old enough to be able to voice, their thoughts, their feelings?
Yeah, let me take that first, and then yours are younger. So yeah, we each have two, and I've got a middle schooler and a high schooler.
Boy and girl?
Boy and girl, yeah. And this is all they knew. They never wondered why last names didn't match or why they've got so many grandmothers. It just, and then every now and then I'll throw out, oh, well, my other sister, and they're like, what are my other? There's other things. There's other family members, and now they just roll with it. It's like, all right, he's got another one of these or another one of those. So.
How about you, Ryan?
Yeah. So a week ago, my son asked me why we had different last names, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. So I don't even know what I said. I just kind of blacked out. And then he walked away. So I was like, well, we'll see. Maybe he won't ask me. He's only 6. But he literally, a week ago, he asked me that. So, and then our sister's kids, I don't think they fully know. They are 5 and 10, 9, 5 and 9, something like that.
The 10-year-old, I think she she follows.
She probably knows. She's
Like, it's funny when I was telling my kids, okay, this is, mom and mother, and this is who. The thing that freaked them out the most was that our birth parents used to be married. They're like, what? They were married to each other? Like,
yeah.
that was the one big surprise. Everything else was all right. I'm gonna walk away.
So what do you guys do? What do you guys do for a living?
I
I'm an
sell
energy
software.
Sorry.
What'd you say?
Go ahead, bro.
Sorry. I work for a software company. I'm in sales.
And
Energy
Devon?
broker.
And so there was a lot of talk or discussion about in some of your videos that your dad, let's see, your mom's a dental hygienist or hygienist, and your dad had I think started or went to college or was thinking about pursuing the same career, but then changed his career path and he worked in a steel
Yeah.
factory
So he
and you
was
too.
he was science major, biochemistry. He was in the sciences, and so was I. I graduated biochem, and so I had very little information about my birth family, back before I found them. But one of the pieces of information they gave me was that he was in. I always grew up thinking he was in dental school, but evidently he was pre-dental at that time. And now that I think about the ages, yes. So pre-dental, he wanted to be, or he was aiming to be a dentist, and then went a different route. And he worked at a steel mill as, I don't even know what the right term is, but he was the head chemist, metallurgist. Thank you. There. So he did use his science, and for me, I graduated biochem and got accepted to med school, and then I took a different route. But it's very similar to what he was doing. And then our birth mother was also in the medical field, so it was just one of those odd things.
And so, who looks like who? So now that you found your birth parents, and one of the reasons why you had mentioned that you really wanted to find them, Devon, is because you wanted to find out who you looked like or what they looked like, and if you looked like them. And then the other was for medical history, that kind of thing. So you guys look similar. I mean, obviously you can tell you're brothers, but who do you guys, I think Brian had one time said, Devon, that you look like Patrick Swayze. There were some pictures that you look like Patrick Swayze when you were younger.
Oh, wow.
But who do you guys look like, mom or dad?
Well, I actually take after our maternal grandfather, and we have pictures. I have pictures of that first day where I met them, and he and I are both standing the same way and holding ourselves the same way. And physically, I do take after him. And now that I'm starting to get a little older, I'm starting to look a lot like our birth father. When I first met them, I didn't see that. I saw a little bit of myself actually in Ryan and our sister. But now that I'm getting a little older, I'm starting to look like him more. Whereas Ryan, well, go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, growing up, I just started laughing to myself because I remember walking down the street with my grandpa one time when I was little, and this old man from the neighborhood was like walking by, and he said something like, like, is that your daughter? Like, about me. He was real old. Apparently, I looked just like mom when we were kids, and I haven't thought about that in a long time. But I took after, at least like physically, more after my dad's father, like tall and lanky. So, yeah. And then sister, it's like a combo.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And so you guys said that you recently took your first sort of family vacation. What was that like? I mean, when you guys, and I'm such a deep analytical thinker that I think, what were you guys thinking? Like, you're there, you're on this little vacation together. Devon, did you have any feelings like, wow, I can't believe this is happening? Like we're all together. And what kind of feelings did you have?
Yeah, I mean, it's always awesome when we get together, but and that one was actually one. It was wonderful that we were all together, away from our homes, on the vacation. But also, our birth father had brought a bunch of photographs of the family, and then he also brought the first letter I wrote him before I met him. So that was pretty awesome.
And how about you, Ryan?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I don't think we realized that was our first, vacation until after the fact. And I don't know. I don't really know what I thought. I just thought it was kind of cool. And then I also thought it's kind of crazy that it took that long, you know? But we all, especially the siblings, like for example, our brother-in-law on his 40th birthday, our sister was like, "What do you want to do?" And he's like, "I want to do something with Devon and Ryan and the group, the wives and husbands." So I mean, we really are like super tight. And I don't know. I don't know. We need to do it
Maybe
more. I wish
it's so natural. Maybe it just feels so natural that I
I
don't
think
know,
so.
you know?
Yeah, I think so. But it's just interesting because even, not to get too far off topic, but even like 2 weeks ago, Devin and I had a discussion about like, is it weird if when I say mom, or is it weird when I say dad? And it's just it's so interesting how like far we've come and how tight we are, yet so much like basic things we've never really talked about or addressed with each other.
I love that.
So
How long have you guys been reunited?
okay, so like 25 years. I just turned
Wow.
40. So
Wow.
yeah.
And so, Devin, do
Yeah.
you not call y'all's mom and dad mom and dad?
No, mom and dad is who raised me.
Okay.
To me, that's an earned title,
Hmm.
uh, and I they earned it. I was not the easiest child growing up. Um, but yeah, it's funny when I talk about my birth parents, I call them mother and father. But when I speak to them, I use their first names, and that was something that conversation brought up with Ryan. It's like, does that make them or you feel? I always do feel weird when I say, call them by their name, and then Ryan and our sister are saying mom, and I'm like, ah, gosh, because I don't want her to only because I don't want her to feel weird. It's I'm just I worry about not worry. I just don't want her to have any weird feelings. Not weird feelings. You know what I'm talking. I don't
Yeah,
want it
I
to be
know what you're
awkward.
saying.
It would be weird to call someone mom your whole life and then be like, well, I'm going to call this other person mom. Like, I couldn't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally do that. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, and see, those are the things that, when these types of questions are asked, that when you give a different perspective, and it's so cool to have both of you guys' perspective, that someone that's listening, whether it's adoptive parent or birth parent or a child that has been adopted, it gives them a little bit of a different perspective in terms of, okay, so I feel that way too. And, maybe I can have that conversation with my sibling or with my birth parent, that mean, do you actually sit down and have that conversation and say, is it okay if I call you your first name? I mean, it really helps to bring some questions to the surface, which is another thing I've noticed that in your videos, there are tons of comments from people, comments, questions, a lot of respect and admiration for you guys and your family, in that a lot of people that comment have been adopted or maybe hadn't had such a great connection with their birth families and or parents that have adopted, and so I love that your channel really does help those that come in and watch it. And so I had asked you guys during sort of our pre-chat that if you guys thought about, because your experience was just I mean, I don't know if it wasn't seamless, but it seems so seamless. If you guys had ever thought about putting, I don't know, something together. I don't want to say guidelines or I don't want to say that because everybody is different. Everybody's experience is different. And so that sort of answered my question when I asked you guys if you had ever thought about putting something out that might be helpful for other people, meaning a book or um, I don't know, something like that. But you guys both said that um, pretty much that everybody's experience is different. You know, I mean, you can't really, I think people watching your videos, that's sort of a guide in of itself. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, for me, it's our channel is just sharing our experiences
Mhm.
because there was nothing that really that Ryan and I did. We were just kind of handed our situations and we just ran with what we have. So, and there's so many different facets to it,
Mhm.
and if, thinking back to my dad, if I would have searched and if I, would have told him I found it, that could have really, who knows what direction that would have gone.
Mm.
And the comments that we get, first off, the comments are awesome. And Ryan
Mhm.
and I are constantly calling each other, hey, did you see that? What that make you think or feel or great. And by far and large, they've been wonderful, positive comments. But we also do get negative comments and we keep them up there and we answer them. This is just this is our experience.
Mhm.
This isn't to say that this is how it should be for you or would be for you or might be for you. This is just our experience. So we do keep the comments up there.
I love that. And I love how you guys respond to every single comment. Like that, there's a lot. You guys have a lot of followers and a lot of people coming and watching your stories and as you share, and there's a lot of comments. I mean, I was trying to just even on one video, read all of them. I thought, man, it's so many. And you guys are just so amazing in that you respond to everybody's comment, whether it is positive or not so. But so let me see. I'm going to run up here really fast. I see a question or a comment. Okay. So I know that Heard That Outdoors, they were on because they adopted their son Tristan, and I can say his name because they were all on my show and they shared their story. But their comment was, I think every adopted child or parent struggled with that. I know we did, and I can't remember what that was, but response to. But in terms of the mom and dad, it says, I'm sure for Devon, it is like switching gears in your brain when Ryan says mom or dad. How does that make you feel anyway? Does it make you feel anyway, Devon, when Ryan says mom or dad? I mean,
No,
no.
he's talking about someone that we both love. And if he has a different name for him than I do, that doesn't even enter in. Don't even register that he uses a different name than I do.
Okay, let me see another thing down here. Okay, Not For Nothing says, it is so awesome that you both wanted to share your experience on YouTube because it is such a heartwarming diary. So what else besides the adoption, what else in terms of someone that may be just tuning in and is not sure what your channel is about, what else do you guys focus on your channel?
So we bought this property and it's just raw land. And both of us grew up with access to, grandparents had a farm. Devon's uncle, I guess, right? Or was it more of a family? Like we both spent time, especially like in the summers, working at the farm and just running through the woods and doing all that stuff. And when I think about my childhood, like that's what I think about is being outside. And those are all of my best memories. And so I personally wanted to recreate that for my kids if possible. But Devin and I are both, I mean, we just like the outdoors. We go backpacking and we love, camping and hunting and that sort of stuff. And so we're just wanting to just build this out and we're doing a lot of stuff off grid because it's just interesting. It's the idea of being self-sustaining is just really cool. The idea of planting fruit trees and getting your own food, I think is just amazing. And so it's all of those things. And that's the original, and the main focus is just, doing all of that. And like, I always, and sorry, Devin, but my sister and I remember specifically growing up at the farm, just saying like, because our grandparents built their house and like built everything, right? Man, I would love to have seen what this was like. And I just think about how much respect I had for my grandparents to be able to like what our kids and grandkids might be able to do is see us when we're this age doing things is phenomenal. It's amazing. So long answer.
Oh my gosh. No, that's wonderful. I love it. And how about you, Devin?
Yeah, it was actually Ryan's idea to start the channel, and it was for the kids, to have a place where they can go back and see that. And I mean, I would love to be able to see videos of my dad, now, and grandparents. Gosh, and now that the kids can have that for us, that's super happy for them. And yeah, to give them experiences that Ryan and I had growing up separately, but we were out there at the farm, and our kids are city kids. So I'm glad that they're getting to see this and see us struggle growing crops, and it's been wonderful for them. Wonderful.
And I know this has been in a couple of our videos, but how Devin and I were saying it's like the fort that we never got to build when we were kids, but it is totally that.
Yeah.
I mean, we are literally like just kind of throwing stuff together and trying things, and we're just like learning and don't really know what we're doing. And it's like we're 8-year-olds just out at our grandparents' farm, rubbing sticks together, just on a bigger level, I guess.
Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. Like you said, it's land that you can the land that you never were able to build your fort together or a tree house together, and I can't imagine what that feels like when you're out there together doing those things. I'm sure it feels amazing. Really quickly, it's so Heard That Outdoors. Julie and Randy, they are the parents that adopted Tristan. And so when you guys were talking about titles, she said that she was referring to the mom and dad titles, that it's just as difficult for them, as it is, I'm sure, for the child. Let me see here. Okay, someone else has another comment. They say, I love the shipping containers you guys are using. We are off grid too. And I love the way you guys are doing it. So how far, I know that I've watched you guys with the shipping containers. I saw Ryan putting together and pardon me, I don't know the correct terminology, but the sort of the platform that the bell tent, or the base, I guess, that the bell tent was going to be placed on top. And I love that, Ryan, you shared that Devon had left an example for you, or kind of the way that it should be done with the string, and that you followed along. And I love how you kind of had the camera in on the angle of your boards. And, like you said, it's not perfect, but it was going to work. How far along are you guys on your land? And obviously it's probably not a race, it's a marathon. You guys are just taking it as it comes. But how far are you to where you want to sort of semi be, maybe not completely, but semi be on your property?
Go ahead, Devin.
That's you, brother.
So we have these bell tents with wood stoves inside of them. So, and it is so fun. Like, it's such a cool experience to sleep in these giant canvas tents when it's, 20 degrees outside and 60 inside. And that was such a big project. That took a year just to get those platforms built, because we didn't know what we were doing. They're huge. And, most of the time we're just working like on the weekend. But that, like, getting those down, like, those are big. That's like a big pillar, because I don't feel rushed necessarily with anything else that we're working on other than our rainwater harvesting for our trees. Because now we can go spend days on end out there and have a place to sleep, and and it's fun. So we have so many things that we want to do, but at least for me, like I don't feel rushed like I did before we had our tents up.
Hmm. And Devon, you?
I feel rushed. Right now it's hotter than heck out there.
It is.
So things have taken a pause right now. But in the fall, I mean, we need to get the first food plot up and going again. The second food plot installed. Bunch of trees to plant this fall. Got to get the water catchment finalized. Putting the catchment part of it was great. Now we just got to get the totes hooked up to it. But yeah, we're still talking. Okay, in the spring, what are we gonna? Because we keep trying new things out there. What are we gonna try this spring? So, and it's funny. He'll just throw over a YouTube video of someone. Hey, what do you think about what this guy did? Or how about doing this, trying this? So it's funny how often he and I text each other or call each other. I really have to keep that in check because I know I'm bugging him when I'm reaching out to him every 45 minutes or so. But his land it's just been great to get us tied, and the channel too, to get us tied up. It's been a dream.
What just happened right there where we had two completely different answers? I was laughing earlier when you were talking because I was thinking about all the times that we'll be out there building something and one of us is about to just lose our minds in frustration, and the other one's like, no, it's good, and like we flip-flop. But
Totally.
We haven't had it one time where we're both about to just lose it and burn the place down.
Yeah.
So it's always like if one of us is losing it, the other one's
So
we balance
true.
it out.
I love that. Anna commented, I love how Devon's and Ryan's faces light up when the other is speaking such love, such a great story and stories. And that's the truth. And throughout all of their videos, I'm telling you guys, it's so emotional to witness. It's a blessing, an honor that you guys are sharing your stories, and of course making them for your children so that they can their children and whomever else can come and see their parent or their grandparent on the video. But I'm telling you, it is the most heartwarming, and not to be stupid about it, but it is just very, you can feel the love, and it's very emotional. And especially when you think about where all this started and how long it took for you guys to get together. And then, Devon, you said you're not a woulda, shoulda, coulda kind of guy, that you're really just taking advantage of the opportunities to hang out as much as you can with Ryan and the family. But I have to ask, do you, and I hate the stupid saying, the cliche, everything happens for a reason, but for lack of better terminology, you guys, now, because you guys were the situation that it is, I can watch and think, man, I have my siblings, and you guys are experiencing something so beautiful that maybe you wouldn't have experienced had it been a different, had you grown up together. I mean, look how much joy and love that you have. It is so obvious. I don't know if it's because of, but maybe because the reunion happened so much later in life. I mean, it almost seems like you just really appreciate each other, and just something that maybe I take for granted, those of us that grew up with our brothers and sisters. And here you have this beautiful relationship as biological brothers that maybe some of us kind of envy. I mean, I know that you guys don't do the woulda, shoulda, but what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I was thinking, and I was trying to say this to Devon the other day about like everything you're saying, I've been thinking about, because like if you grow up with somebody you're probably not asking them like, hey, what were you thinking when you were this age? Or like, because y'all were together. So you don't like dive in very deep, and I was saying like all these questions that we're getting from comments on our videos that they seem kind of surface level. They're really making us think. And I was saying that there's like a lesson in there, just even if it's like personal introspection, like thinking about yourself and like even at the most basic level of things. I don't know. I haven't even been able to put all this into words. It's like trying to explain it to Devin the other day, but I think that you're right. Like if you grow up with your siblings, like I think about my sister, who I grew up with. I don't know. I mean, it's a very weird thought. Like for us to be, Devin was an adult. I was 15, and we're finding out about each other's lives and actually having to ask questions because we weren't there. I don't know. It's a really great question. I think there's a lesson in there.
There is that, and you know what? It's a lesson for us too that are watching and that have taken our siblings for granted. And I thank you guys for sharing because it really does. I'm late 50s, and I really think, wow, look at that relationship that you guys have. And without being in the same house, and I think, oh my gosh, dang it, I need to go buy some land with my brother. But Devin, how do you feel?
Yeah, I've never been one to say, well, things happen for a reason. I'm more of, okay, this is my situation right now. What do I need? I just need to take it from here. And this has been, it's nothing's been weird. It's funny, Ryder and Southern I do kind of feel weird that Ryan and I are sharing our relationship when there's also our sister involved. There's also our mother and father involved. There's more to the story than just Ryan and I. We're the ones that bought the land, and we're running with it. But I hope everyone knows our sister's right there with us, and so is our mother and father.
So, Devin, Ryan, let me ask you this. I don't know why there's an echo again. There's an echo on Devin and an echo on me. But we're gonna get through this. Ryan, what is something that you absolutely love about your brother Devin?
Come on, brother.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to. It's a pretty big question. I don't want to let you down, man.
We sure?
Huh? Yes. Man, I mean, so many things. I think it's just, I don't know. What do I love about? I mean, it's like I love everything about him, but that's a tough question. It's not a tough question. It's an easy question, but I don't want to say something and be like, that wasn't the best answer I could have given. Dang. You just asked me something, not the favorite thing. I would say just the fact that like, okay, sometimes when I think about Devin, if someone's like, tell me about your brother. I'm like, you met him. You would think that he is sorry. Like, no, like very, and I'm not saying these aren't true, what I'm about to say, but like he's very buttoned up, serious, mature. there it is. He's very mature, but he's like he's not at all. And I think that's part of, I think when we go out to the property, but with just the two of us, we laugh so much because I think that we like let loose of just all the immaturity that we have built up that we can't do around everyone else.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. I haven't thought about it like that, but it's true.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Devin, what is something that you just really love about your brother, Ryan?
Yeah, it's not our brothership, it's our friendship. I mean, and Ryan just did it. We act like the biggest goofballs when we're together. I mean, we are just constantly laughing, but we're also teasing each other about. No, I'm sorry, I'm getting choked up.
It's okay.
It's about how the family I grew up with, we didn't press love all that much. I didn't, and now I do, or I hope I do, Ryan. So I'm sorry. Just to have a receptive, I mean, someone that's so receptive of my love.
It's so sweet.
So much for being sure.
All right. Well, before we hop off, if someone can please share their link to their channel. There is a question here, and it says, "Who is the comedian out of the two of you?" But it seems like you guys both are kind of are pretty funny. Who's this?
It's Devon.
It's Ryan.
Y'all are both always laughing in your videos. It's so amazing to see. Okay, let's look at this really fast. Ryan and Devon's story. It is so amazing being adopted myself. I'm somewhat envious of what they have. The story of how the story has come to be. You see, that is just what's so beautiful about it. Is it really makes people stop to think whether you're adopted or biological siblings. I think about my own siblings when I see how amazing your relationships are. But so my final question to all of my guests, Devon, I'm going to ask you first. After all that has transpired in your life up and now, and having a relationship with your family, your birth parents, your adopted parents, your siblings, your stepsister or your sister that you grew up with, who is Devon today? Who are you today? Who would you say that you are today?
I'm just a lucky, blessed person that has more people in their lives that love me and are receptive to my love. Just, I'm more fortunate than most of the people that I have to share.
I love that. All right, Ryan, same question to you. With all that has transpired in your life and up to now, who would you say that you are? Who is Ryan today?
That's a great question. I think I do a good job, and I think it's something that I developed over time of just being very appreciative of everything that I have. And I really try not to take anything for granted. And I think a lot of that has to do with this whole part of our lives and how, I mean, I don't know. It's just you don't hear that many stories like ours. And I don't take it for granted. And I don't take the relationship that we have for granted. I mean, when we met, Devon lived in New York, and now we're within 30 miles of each other, and own property together. And I know that anything and everything could kind of be taken away at any point. And I just try not to, I'm very cognizant of that, I feel. And I think that kind of gives me a little bit of a guiding light. So,
man, that's good. That's true. For anybody, things can change in an instant. And you guys' channel, I admire. I am grateful for it. I respect the two of you guys and how you share so respectfully to or even about your family members, and that you guys have really helped change the mindsets of children that have been adopted, siblings that have maybe come together or not, adopted parents, birth parents, and you shed light on the importance of family, man, just living in the moment and not take each other for granted. And so what a beautiful experience that you guys both have and you guys both have shared. And you guys have any final words for anybody that might be listening tonight?
Just appreciate all the comments and the warmth and the love that we receive from the videos we put out. I mean, it's such a great community. We've really been received with open arms, and it's been wonderful.
Yeah, I echo that, and thank you very much for having us on here. This was a lot of fun, and yeah, I'm very appreciative of everybody because it's opened up so much more, and I know it's going to continue to open it up. I mean, we almost every day we're talking about different things about questions we need to ask, and is it okay to ask, and all of that. And I just feel like our relationship's just gonna. I mean, it sounds weird to say that because it doesn't need to get any better, but we're building more memories that we didn't build when we were younger. So I mean, it's awesome.
My gosh, that's so beautiful. Well, I'm blessed. I'm honored that you guys said yes to come on, and I'm so happy for both of you and your families. And I'm happy for us that we get to watch your channel and your stories and your journeys. And man, I admire the two of you. Just much love and respect for both of you. And again, thank you guys so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Our pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. Thanks everybody for coming on. Thank you for joining in and supporting these two brothers and their amazing families. I don't want to leave out the fact that they have supportive wives and children and extended family members, but we wanted just to kind of discuss what their channel is all about and their experience is about. And so if you have the opportunity, please go and check it out. You will just be so enlightened, and it just really does warm your heart when you watch their videos. And go check out the very first live together. It is awesome. You will love it. It made me smile so much, as do all of you, your videos. So go check out Our New Land and give them some love and support. And we will see you guys next Monday again at 6:30 because I'm going to have Goat Days come on, and Sammy and David will be coming on to share their story of addiction and how they found God and how God helped them to freedom of that addiction. And now they're living really great lives. So tune in next Monday at 6:30 and support them as well. I hope everybody has a good night. Thanks for joining in. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys.